Gentlemen, how are you? Thanks. Sorry, the pin by on me. How are you doing? Good to see you guys. Thank you guys for coming down. I appreciate it. Sorry. Just so we know, we're gonna go back here. It is a kind of controlled area, so anything, weapons, anything like that on you guys, recording devices, anything like that's in a secure area. Cool. All right, let's go on back. I've got. Is a full screw open? As long as it's empty. Yeah, you're fine. Yep, as long as it's empty, that's good. Thank you for understanding. How's your guys' morning going?
Good one.
It's Monday. It is Monday. Start to lose track of time sometimes.
Yeah, no, especially when you're working weekends.
Yeah. That happens. I'm here. Changed some things up since last time you were here. Let's get the comfy stuff.
You gonna take that one then?
Yeah.
Tommy, you want to lay down?
Right.
All right. Well, like I said, thank you guys for coming. I appreciate it. Use this opportunity. First, I kind of want to verify just your guys' information. I know when deputies have responded, there's been some, not necessarily misinformation, but I think people are going off your old addresses and things like that, so we have in the report system. So I'll clarify that with you guys real quick, just so I have it on my end.
Yeah.
Just so you know, this isn't going to change anything from the deputies asking you every time. That's just our policy. Whenever they contact someone, they're going to ask those questions. So if you say, well, Detective Geyer said, you already got our info, they're okay. And
They don't know.
it's going to ask again.
Sure.
So does that make sense?
Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
So cool. You guys need any waters or anything like that?
I'm good.
Okay.
You need mine?
Let me just verify. So, well, yeah, let's get everyone just to have safe. So Ty, start with yours.
What do you want? The address?
Let's go full name.
Thomas Ray Fellows.
Okay, and that's the one I've been communicating with you on the most, right?
Yeah.
Does that tie into Colorado Pet Patrol email? Is that kind of one and the same?
It is, yeah.
Okay.
We'll be switching that, but yeah, it is.
Okay. Do you know what you're switching it to?
Not yet. I haven't done it, but I just get too many emails, so we're changing a lot of things, but yeah, that's gonna be one of them. I'll
Okay.
give it to you as soon as I do it.
That's fine. Good deal. And do you go by Jeremy or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremy.
And last name?
Collins, Collins.
And address?
I've got a mailing address.
And is that just a mailing? Don't have a physical address at all?
I do have a physical address,
Okay.
but yeah, there won't be, like, I have everything mailed there.
Okay.
The problem is, like, when we give our info to the police, we got people online that FOIA all the body cams every time,
Okay.
and then they post videos online of us giving our.
They've done every video we've done.
Okay.
So
That's
that's
why-
how our phone numbers are all out there.
That's why I tend to give my mailing address, because I don't want when they post it online.
Okay. So, and you don't have to give me your other address. The other reason we ask that is if we needed to make contact, say there was a court subpoena
Right.
or anything like that. Sometimes they don't always go through the mail, so sometimes there's personal service. So that's why I ask things like that.
Yeah, that's why my
up to you.
address changes, because I usually just try and give my mailing address. But
Okay, that might explain that then.
Yeah.
Are you okay with me having your actual physical address? Okay, let me just put mailing on here.
yeah,
Okay. Someone think that long about a phone number. You got different ones?
I do.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
I always have a hard time.
I probably have the least amount of phone numbers.
Is it this?
Yeah.
That's
That is my best number.
That's the one I call them with.
Okay, good
if
deal.
you reach them on the other one, there's trouble.
Yeah. And this is all like consent. We're not like detained or nothing.
No, not at all. We're just here having a conversation.
Yeah.
I close the door so we're more private. If you guys let the door open, you can. I mean, any point in time, you guys can leave. There's, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm just.
Like I said, the whole point of this is to make sure that we're on the same page, moving forward with anything. And the
We
very
had
first thing
something
we'll start
happen over
with.
the weekend, and I
Okay.
don't know if you know about it, but the FBI showed up to my decoy's house in West Virginia.
Okay.
We had to catch on Friday.
Okay.
That I'm supposed to get. And they said he's a bad guy. They said we haven't talked to Thomas Fellows yet because he has a meeting at 10 o'clock.
Okay.
Do you know about that?
Now about the meeting, yeah, we're here.
Do you know about the catch?
No, okay.
Or them knowing about the meeting being here
Here
sounds
at
like
10
they want
o'clock.
to come and talk to Tommy.
I mean, FBI's gonna do their own thing.
We
But,
could be
I
connected
mean,
with you. So
are you
wonder-
sure? Are you sure it was actual FBI
100%. I got a card, man.
from the FBI?
Yeah.
How do you have a card?
She sent me a picture of it.
Okay, which decoy?
Vanessa.
Okay.
He knocked on the door and said he was with the sheriff, and then said he was FBI detective, and brought her into the car and said, "Listen, this guy you're catching is a bad man. He's like on a wanted list." And he said, "Not a wanted list, a watched list."
Okay.
He said, "You can't do it. We just spent all this money, tickets. We're flying out. I'm flying out on Friday, catching him on Saturday, calling the police, the whole deal." And he said, he said, we haven't talked to Tommy yet, because she's like, well, can we at least record this? We paid all this money, you know, this is how we support it. He's like, he's going to talk to the detective on Monday. He has an appointment. I said, no, I don't. And then I'm like, oh, shit, I do. But I, you know.
Okay. Have you told anyone we're having this meeting?
I mean, not really, not like that. This was a real guy. It's
Okay.
not a
Well,
fake.
no, I'm at our meeting, like right now. I mean, have you told anyone we were meeting?
Yeah,
I mean, it doesn't matter
Yeah, I've
for
talked
me,
about
but-
having a meeting, you know, to work things out with Weld County and stuff like that, but I don't know how they would have known if you didn't know. Like,
Okay.
They're pretty vague.
yeah, very vague, very vague. I even said it got canceled. It was one another day, and I said it was down in Canyon City, because we have trolls too, right? I don't know if you've heard, but I've called you guys a lot of times to my house because they keep fucking with me. But this was a real person, and maybe they're coming to talk to me today, and she assumed.
Yeah, that could be. I mean, yeah, show me a business card. I mean, I might know.
She sent it to me last night.
Maybe they're watching your chit chats.
In the meantime, what Shay, right?
Yes, sir.
And that's your
SHAY.
okay.
Miller, MILLER.
And Jeremy, let me get. And then you like to go by Cooley, is that right? Is that normally or?
That's my stage YouTube name. Yeah.
Okay, what's better for in here? Do you have a preference?
Like my email? No, I go by Jay.
Okay, Jay. Okay, and your email?
He's like, what's their real? I'm like, Captain and Cooley. He's like, last name Coulson. I don't know, you know.
You did say that, didn't you?
That's how he knew me for the first 6
So he said he's not.
That's not FBI. That's just a detective for whatever PD it is. The way I'm reading that. I mean, that's that's no different than my card. Just mine says Weld County, so I think they're just a detective.
Yeah.
I mean, the FBI card
So-
usually has like an FBI seal on it, most likely. So
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing that's not an FBI, but I don't know.
Huh, but you know nothing about it?
No, I mean they have.
He clearly stated Tommy's got a meeting set up on Monday. We'll talk to him about it then.
I mean,
It's
law
so weird.
enforcement are going to know when there's meetings sometimes, especially if we do reports that document we have meetings, so it wouldn't be hard to find out. On Friday, I do a supplement to what's called, I have another generic report I create, and saying that we had a meeting on Friday and that we canceled, and that moved for today, so
Call this
that
guy.
could be a general area too, so, but.
Well, he told her that this is why she said FBI. He said because the Colorado FBI is investigating the case, he couldn't tell her much.
Okay.
So that's why I thought it was weird. I'm like, so are we meeting at the sheriff's department to meet with this guy from the FBI? She recorded the second half because he left.
Okay.
Came back. She recorded it, and he, you know, he said all that stuff, and she asked him if we could go at least just record it, and he's like, well, Monday's or Saturday's a quick time to do all this. I don't know if we can get it all done in time, but you got to talk. Tom will talk to him on Monday.
Interesting. Okay.
Weird.
We'll give him my contact information if he needs to.
I will,
so we
absolutely.
just see.
Yeah, I guess I'll just call that as soon as I leave then.
Okay, good deal. So, first thing besides that, so when you start, what is the first question? What kind of question do you guys have for me? Do you have any questions for me? Before I get into some of my questions.
How do we make your job easier? How can we work together?
Not together, but like, to me, it's getting harder and harder, and I think, you know, maybe we pissed each other off with the officers and stuff like that. It's only one officer, but I mean, just the other day, I give him the GoPros. You got some cops that say, no, we don't take those, and he takes them, right? The footage, you know, and then we have nothing. Now we carry more, whatever. But it's like, you know, he comes up, don't be a criminal if you're gonna, you know, break laws and stuff. And then it just seems like we're harassing the cops, you know. Like the other day, he walked by the car that same officer walked and checked both of our plates, you know, and then lets the guy drive off with no plates, but telling me he's gonna write me a ticket because I have a temporary plate that's expired, you know. And it's just like, I feel like, you know, we're doing these cases and they're not being taken serious by the police. I mean, we had one guy that came out and had a hard tar with the guy, and he comes up to me and says, I don't think this guy's who you think he is. You know, he's reached out to me for the third time now. I think I talked to you about it. He wants to figure out a way to get, you know, I stopped the day you told me to stop. So I just want to know, how do we get this to where they take it serious, you know?
Well, first, so you guys understand,
the whole county, we're having a problem.
patrol isn't going to make an on-site arrest, okay? This is not going to happen.
Everybody else, though?
They
That's why I'm
don't. They
confused.
don't. And I know they don't.
Oh,
so
Greenville.
you have a couple that do, but over the last 6 months, you have maybe just
Greeley?
2. So
But that's because we moved here.
other than that, correct. So not everywhere's doing that. And so the issue is that we have to go further into detail. So I'll get into all that kind of in the cases on that stuff. So that's why I'm adding down what your note is. But I'll explain all that to you here in a second, okay? Does that work? Okay. So Any other question before I can write down to get to? Because that already ties into some of the stuff I want to talk about, the investigations.
I'm sure
anything
some will
else?
come up. I have some too, but just.
Okay, if you have some, feel free,
yeah.
that's fine. Okay. So when we first met, Tommy, you and I talked about that your guys' main objective was to make sure they were getting arrested. Is that still the same, or do you have any other objective at this point?
Well, we want them arrested. That's the end goal. But a lot of times, if they're not going to get arrested, exposure is as bad, if not worse. A lot of times, these guys are getting probation anyway. You know, nothing crazy. And exposure, their families knowing, their neighbors are knowing. So our main goal is for them to be exposed and arrested. But if they're not going to be arrested, at least exposed. You know.
Okay. So, but your main is still lead to that main arrest.
Right. Absolutely.
Okay. Good. Glad to hear that. Okay, so kind of have you up for update on cases, and this will kind of go into like we're talking about, right? We have 4 cases that are over the DA's office right now, still being reviewed, okay? This is, we just hear when we hear because they get so many other cases, okay? But those 4 are still over there.
Okay.
The cases that are still open right now, those cases right now are still being investigated, okay? So when you guys give us the information, like I said, the reason that they're not arrested on patrol level is that in a sex offense crime, it normally gets sent off to investigation. So we look at everything, okay? Hence when I ask you guys for all video footage, all chat logs from the original meet. That's all stuff we have to tie in to show how that investigation goes, okay? So that's why I asked for all that stuff. So with what you give us, yes, it does show a picture, but it doesn't give us the whole picture. So we have to do our due diligence and go through and actually investigate that. If you consider if someone calls in to us, I use social services as a referral, as we get referrals for child abuse all the time, right? Or sex abuse. They take a statement, they send it in to us. We don't just go immediately and arrest. We have to investigate and see everything that happened from the get-go, okay? So your guys' cases aren't treated any differently than almost any case unless we have evidence of that crime committed right then and there in front of us. Sometimes that changes that.
So
okay?
if they show
so
up,
it just depends.
they show up and they tell the officer, I fucking made a mistake. I was going to have sex with a child. They can't be arrested?
Yes. No, we're not going to. So, because we're going to continue to go through and investigate, okay? Because sometimes at moments people say things that make hard for us to hold up in court or just human nature. So we have to establish that, okay? So that's why it goes on to us. So all the patrol not making an arrest is not on the deputies, okay? That is the guidance from the sheriff's office, and that's how we do it. And that's really not going to change, okay? So some of the issues that we have with your guys' investigations, not providing us with all the evidence required, okay? That's a big one, is that when I send you an email requesting everything, I'm not just doing that because I'm bored, okay? That's because we need that to proceed in the investigation. When we don't get those, most times they get closed, unless we can do a case on our own, which is pretty difficult in these cases, okay? So there's one issue. Some of the comments, any kind of dishonesty type statements to the deputies also makes that hard. So if, for example, when you told Deputy Bailey that 3 detectives have said stop taking those, we know that wasn't true.
Right. Well, I meant 3 officers.
But either way, they're not Weld County.
Right.
And so that thing, either detectives or Weld County people, that's not our people that said that. Whatever other agencies do, that's
it was your officers.
No, they didn't.
Oh,
We don't
100%. They won't take them. They never took me. So
but they never said stop turning them into you, though, right?
No, they just, I think.
Because I've reviewed the body cam.
The second catch we did, where we did at the hotel, I went to give it to him and they said, we don't take those.
Okay.
So he's the only officer that's ever taken.
But no one said stop turning them, especially not
Didn't say stop
detectives.
turning them,
So
but-
that's where see where I get into this problem, okay? And I'm not trying to go back and
that was
forth
a little
on
bit of a
things.
swing and dick, thing with him, and I'm sure he saw it.
Right.
He said, Tommy's trying to be take it personal. I didn't say nothing.
Right.
So that was just.
And I'm not saying everyone's responses are perfect, right? Everyone's human, including you guys, right?
Right.
All I'm saying is stuff like that, though, is what sends a loop in these investigations.
Right.
Okay, as if anyone's not being honest with each other.
Right.
Some of the information for a gentleman or the guy that you guys had take off on you in a car, and you guys went after him, and you guys were telling him to pull over. By telling the deputy, well, he just pulled over on his own, shows different in the evidence statements because you guys were telling him pull over, right? So again, that sort of, I won't necessarily say dishonest, but misleading type stuff, or not telling them that, gives some issues in that investigation as well because it's different from what shows on video. So when you guys say something that's different than what's on video, that causes a problem for us. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think we followed him, and he did just pull over the second time. We were going to follow him to his house.
Not this guy up here. No, I'm talking a while back. The guy that was potentially high at the gives us a hard time with our cases. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So that's some of the issues we have. Some of the things with the, I guess I'll use the word doxing. I don't know if doxing is really appropriate for this, but of the businesses or people out there, that hotel, that's a problem for us.
Yes,
Because
that's a big
she's
problem
getting
for us, yeah.
calls left and right,
I know.
still to this day, of calling her a pedophile, calling her all kinds of names, calling for her to be fired. And from what I've seen is she had a pretty valid question of why don't you call the cops? So that's a problem for us in these cases.
Yeah, we didn't have a problem with her. She came in, you know, like she was completely nice with us at the end.
Well, even at the
We don't
beginning,
like that.
even at the beginning though, she doesn't know who you guys are. So when the public doesn't know who you guys are, what you're doing, and there's two of you with one person, that perception.
Right.
And her comment was, "Why aren't you guys calling the police?" Right.
Right. We already called you guys. It took an hour and 15 minutes to get. No, 2 hours to get.
Right, and that night
Which
they were tied
happens.
up on
He told me
disturbances
that,
all
yeah,
over the county. So
But we
he
had already
actually
called 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, that deputy came from Greeley.
He told me.
So
No,
yeah,
I-
that was
there was
one
not
of
a
those
problem once
times
he
that
said
people
it.
are busy.
You
So,
guys are
but
normally good.
again, for her, she's not involved.
I know she's not.
I
And
think
putting
at that
her-
point, did we like purposefully show the hotel?
No, it was an accident. You know what happened? You want to know what happened? Is the officer was. He said, "I know you're cold. Let's go inside." We went inside and they fucking matched it up
I
with the floor.
think
and shit.
they mostly do it, honestly. Some of them are jerks and they really just enjoy making people's lives hard, but I think really it's like they want this to happen.
Right.
They want this to happen. And now we look bad
Yeah.
because they're harassing
We try to keep the business
everywhere
out
that
because
we
they're
go.
pieces of shit for doing that, you know.
And
But I get what you're saying.
And
We agree with that.
And with
Yeah.
that specific one, in the beginning, you guys called her a Karen 4 times and a fucking idiot. So the viewers are going to hear that.
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to believe that probably helped lead to some of that. And then the edited video you guys put out there is square on her of the hotel. So that amped it up even more.
Yeah.
So now you guys are bringing in people that aren't even involved in this and making them look pretty bad. So again, that's another problem with our cases, is we still have to look out for the public as well.
Sure,
Does that make
I
sense?
understand that, yeah.
So there's a good example of that. Any questions on that? I mean, again, like your guys' verbiage on what you're saying in the beginning, I mean, I get you guys are passionate about what you're doing, but when you start yelling at someone like that,
Well, we
It's not
explained it
gonna
to her,
help
and
the
she kept
viewers.
just telling us that, oh, you know, blah, blah, blah.
Call the police.
Well, she talked a lot of shit, too.
I know,
She talked a
wa-
lot of shit.
I
We
watched
also
and
at that
she,
point encouraged her to call the police
Yeah,
herself.
absolutely.
If she had concerns.
Absolutely.
Please
and
call
she,
the police.
again, she's trying to figure, she had no idea who you guys
Right,
are.
right.
All she sees is 2 guys with 1 guy down on the ground.
Yeah.
That's all she sees.
Yeah.
I mean, shoot, cops get that all the time. If there's someone down, people are coming and being nosy.
Oh, I'm
to
sure.
what's going
I
on.
get it. I get
So,
it. But we
but-
explained it to her, and we were at first we're like, listen, this guy was trying to meet with. How do you know? How do you know? And then I'm the only one that called her a Karen. You know.
No, you guys both did. I
Yeah,
actually
I think
doc
I did.
it. It's down.
Oh.
And so again, I don't need to. We don't. I mean, you guys have the videos. So, but that saying that to somebody who's not involved is put an issue for them.
Yeah, no,
For
you're-
and
She
for
was
us,
involved. She
so
inserted herself.
Yeah.
well,
I mean-
yes, but I mean, we can go back and forth all day. But the
I mean-
fact is, she was trying to figure out what was going on,
Right.
and that response is what's led to a whole bunch of other issues
Yeah,
for
they would have
her
done that
and that
either way.
hotel.
They would have done.
So-
If they see something in the background, we just to tell you, Denver, they saw a Chinese food restaurant. They ordered 200 to go fucking orders. You know, so we try hard not to show the shit in the background. We do try. Sometimes they get it, and we don't mean to do that. That's not our intention. It's not good supporters. That's piece of shit people that just have no life and like to ruin others. So. Yeah, we don't like that either, and we did not try to attack her. She actually came out and apologized. Everything was good. The lady that owns that or runs that, you saw in that video, you guys are good. She knew who we were, you know, and it just, yeah, that probably wasn't perfect, but that's not something we practice, you know.
Okay. Well, like I said, that's just one example.
Yeah,
So,
no, it's a good example, but
some
that
things on
doesn't
that,
happen
so.
very often, you know. But it has.
Okay. In that, when you guys said call the police, and you talk about, you said you guys always call the police.
Always.
Okay, so has that been consistent? You guys always continue
Always.
with that? Never a time?
Always. I don't think we haven't called the police except for like maybe a total of 2 times. If they run sometimes, then we didn't call the police, you know. But when I first started, maybe the first 30 catches, you know. And then lately, I think maybe, like I said, if they run or we don't catch them, and I don't want to waste your guys' time, they're, you know, whatever. Even if it's a close, there's times where we're like, we're in Broomfield, we don't know if they're going to arrest because he didn't say he was going to stick his, you know, in her, we still mostly call, you know, but there is occasions where we don't.
And there is one that you guys call, I can't think of his name, that the crime wasn't quite there.
Yeah.
And you guys, we still responded to investigate and looked at.
And we even
the
said,
deputy
like,
so, right.
No. That was the one where the officer kind of started getting pissed because I think he was like felt for this guy. Bottom line is, you know, we turned it in because we're not the ones who should be the judge and policing, you know. So if this guy's trying to meet a child, I mean, to me it's against the law. To you guys it may not be. But we let you guys decide that, you know. But I think he was like, you're just catching regular people. No. I decoyed that one. You know, he was a piece of shit. He was very good at what he did. But either way, yeah.
Okay. Well, so when we first talked, you had one for Firestone Police. Remember that happened over at the Anytime Fitness? So that never got turned in. The one that after we were done to go over there.
Because we never caught him. Yeah, I never brought it over. I was going to, but I never even dropped it off.
I think we had looked into it, and you're like, "Oh, you got him," and we're like, "No, I don't think we had his name. We didn't have his name. We had a dark black sedan that drove off into the night."
I thought it was your guys' case, so I brought it here. Like, that's not us.
Right, and you had the license plate, I think, that tied him to an address in Firestone. So I said, take that, because I called Firestone and said, hey, just a heads up, they're going to be coming by to let them know in case they needed something from our information, and they didn't have anything.
Yeah, I didn't end up going and turning it in.
Okay. So one that I'm curious about is what happened at the 7-Eleven with the Firestone lighting, or Firestone Fire, Integrity Fire, something like that. What happened with that one? Because
he just drove off. He just drove off.
Okay, but that one wasn't reported to us either.
No.
Okay.
Like I said, if they drive off, sometimes I just don't turn them in because we didn't catch them, you know?
The problem is we get calls from people saying they turned it in, why aren't you doing anything? And so you said you turned it into the sheriff's office, but it never was.
Yeah, I didn't turn that in. No.
Okay, but when you telling your viewers that you did, that caused a problem because we get phone calls.
So they just talk shit, you know? So
well, right, but they cause phone calls for us and getting emails. Why aren't you doing your job? And we have no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I mean, what happened with that fireside one, or fireside?
He showed up and I think we tried to go walk up to him and he just drove off.
Yeah, he took off and he never gave us any of his information.
Yeah.
We got Robert.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's all we got off of him.
Okay. Now was that something that was with you or who else was there?
I think just
me. No, it was me and you.
Yeah,
me and you.
there.
Yeah.
He drove off and he was going the same way I was going when I was going home. So I did follow him for a while, but like everyone was just going the speed limit. He I think recognized my car, but he
How do you recognize your car?
just from the catch, like we were all there together, and like I got in my car and went out, and he just drove down 25 at a normal speed, and then got off the Airplane Toll Road to go to the airport, and I was just like, okay, have a great day, and just continued on down.
I think that's to be honest with you, I think that's in my car.
What is?
The whole binder and the whole.
Okay.
I think. I'm
Now,
not positive.
when you were following him down the road, how far did you say you went to Tower Road?
Yeah, he took the toll road off.
Okay, I got you. Did you call dispatch at all during that time frame to let them know what had just happened or anything that went somewhere else we don't know
I don't
of?
think we did anything.
Okay.
I don't think we did anything.
We've kind of like, so me and my wife, so Megan, that's my wife, she's the caller, so we'll be the two that are the main callers, and we have had situations where like they drive off and then, you know, we're like, do we call emergency, do we not, or like, you know, we used to work a lot in Broomfield, Westminster, and we'd call them and they'd be like, you're trying to call us with like an active chase, like we need to, they're like, we don't know where you are, what you're doing, what's going on. They're like, did you follow him? I'm like, no. Then they're like, why are you even calling us? So a lot of the times we have a hard, well not, you know, sometimes, you know, they might even be, or me included, sitting there talking to the dude, and or like maybe dude's running away and we're like on foot, whatever it may be, and then Megan the caller, she's like, do I call the cops and say where you guys are? Do I? Because we have had problems where the cops are like, well, we appreciate you calling, but if you don't know where they physically are or what's happening, because we could be at 7-Eleven, but if we start like running away or driving away, it's anybody's guess where we are.
And if we don't know, we typically get a lot of info on them, but if we know them as Casper 101, you know, and they run off and we don't have anything in a company vehicle, you know, and so we didn't catch them. So typically, to be quite honest with you, I say, I'm going to go over the chat logs. That's when we call the cops, you know? And so if we didn't even have it go over the chat logs, you know? So that's kind of what happened.
And then there was one other one that we were advised of I think it was a phone call catch that you did, excuse me, that, I want to say the mom lived in maybe Greeley or somewhere else, Denver, and the kid lived somewhere else, so you talked to him on the phone, and I guess you'd said that you were going to turn that into the sheriff's office.
That was
Thornton,
Thornton,
okay.
Colorado. But no, again, we didn't catch him, we didn't get anything, okay. So no, that wasn't even, he never even met up.
So again, the problem, a couple of different things is, we'll talk about in a second kind of what happens when you're there, but at the same time, is we get in all these calls and emails saying, why aren't you doing this? Because you're saying to the viewers, you turn this in.
I see it.
And so then we're getting all these emails, takes me away from what I'm trying to investigate because of that.
Yeah,
so,
in our mind,
I didn't
we
get to that
envision
live.
people minding their own business.
Yeah.
Well, you have a YouTube channel.
Right.
I don't think people are going to mind their own business if you have
that's
a YouTube channel.
I get that. That makes sense. It makes sense. The problem is just, you know, I also don't want to waste your guys' time. So sometimes, like, we didn't even get them. We don't have no information. What are we going to do? Hand you a case that's not even, there's nothing, you know? Like, so that's why it wasn't, no intentions of not letting you know about it. It's just, and that one I wasn't going to turn into you anyway. I wasn't going to even turn into the sheriffs. That was, I didn't even go live with that. That's weird.
So if you
must have heard about a family member or something.
No, the video was sent in to us. So the link where you're talking about it, I believe it was a chat the next day.
Oh, and just a chat.
Talked about it.
Okay,
I think the live, but I'm not positive without having it right in front of me.
Yeah.
I think the phone call was, I can't remember if you did the phone call live. I don't know. I'm kind of losing track.
I didn't. I recorded it, and I was going to make a video on it, but since we didn't do anything with it, it wasn't enough.
Okay.
I didn't think.
So if they drive away, you don't want to turn in the binder.
Oh, a lot of times we do. A lot of times we do. We haven't gotten any results up here. Like in Broomfield, we just turn everything in. No matter what, we turn it in. We turn it in. But here, it's like, you know, even the complete cases. Like, why would we turn in one that doesn't have anything? You know, they didn't meet.
I feel like maybe I'm speaking wrong here, but let me know if I am. But like our perception is it's very difficult to get action on a full case, that we have full stuff, and like if they run away, maybe it's just like, do they want to hear about this? And if you do, like, okay,
that's fine.
Game on.
Do
Well, do you guys understand though? You haven't yet given us a full case. And the reason is because those emails I send requesting that, you've yet to send me all the stuff I've requested.
I haven't.
Whether that's been statements from Rochelle, for our phone calls, to all that stuff.
She does not want to be involved. She is not doing
when she calls the decoy, or calls acting as a decoy, she's involved.
Oh, on that one. I didn't know. I didn't even know about that.
So
I thought I was talking about something.
There's lots of other things, but like I said, I don't send you those emails because I'm bored.
No, I get that.
That's because I need that evidence to proceed forward. I have yet to get the entire evidence from you guys on a case. Was Grinder over like 15-minute time frame, 30-minute time frame. I'm sure I'm under exaggerating there.
No, you're probably
right.
right.
First guy, but that was very quick on Grinder. You provided me everything right there. That's the only one I've been able on my end to push forward because
the only thing I've been seeing is like, you know, you want the live plus you want the video that he's got plus my live and the video I got in my hand, even though they're the same video.
We need them all because we need to be able to show everything that's been recorded. Again, I don't request stuff just because I'm bored.
I get that.
It's all because it's part of the investigation. Okay. So that's what we need. So that's the problem is you guys haven't given me a complete case.
Show up with just a phone.
So
I think also, like, so sometimes I get tagged in the emails, sometimes I don't. It's not even you guys, just depending on the county and stuff. I think a lot of times the emails go to the 73 email, and
that's why I want to switch it.
It's just like you're sitting in there with all the people that email you and all the people that are calling her and all the people, they're all emailing him, and I think that it could be a good idea to also have a completely separate third email only for detectives. But then what happens? You have the detectives that are on site and they FOIA the body cam footage, and they take your email and they put it into the little website that just sends you 1 million emails a day, and then your email's screwed.
Yeah, 73.
Well, maybe we'll come up with a way that can take that problem from you guys. But a lot of those you guys email once or twice back, and then that's it though. So it shows that you email me, and then you email me again, and then silence. So again, that's the problem. That's what I said about a complete case, is I have the other 3 from the detectives, I don't know what they've had. I know I quickly reviewed them, but it's been a while back since I looked at those. So does that make sense? So that's what I'm talking about.
Okay. How did those go through? You don't,
What do you mean?
the other 3 from the other detectives.
I don't know. I'd have to look at them if they filed them up or what they have different. I honestly don't know.
So what happens?
So like I said, I know I've reviewed them, but I have quite a few of myself.
What happens then? There's 4 of them over there, right? What happens then? The
So
DA
what'll happen is the
decides-
DO will read all the stuff, they'll look at information, they may ask for follow-up from us. They may say, is there anything else I'm missing here? Can you go and ask these questions? Can you go retrieve this evidence? It just depends
Not
case
one
by
of them's been
case.
taken yet, though?
Well, they all have them. I know they're there,
I mean,
but been
not one's,
charged.
like, been
Not
arrested
through
yet,
us.
or
No,
not?
no, not through us. So the only one that was arrested was, okay, so then once we hear from them, then we can move forward and see, are we moving forward or is it done? It just, again, it's case by case, so.
Sure.
The other 3 I don't know yet.
Yeah, I get it.
I said, I know I reviewed them a while back, it's just been a while. So then, you guys, you had another question? Okay, you had a question real quick? Okay.
You covered it. We're good.
Oh, okay. So then, some of the other part we have with issues is that we're starting to see a risk to our public, to the safety of the public, okay? And a lot of these guys you're calling in aren't from Weld County, so you're bringing them in. But the problem is when you start going into car chases, foot chases with the hotel people, it's starting to put people in danger. When you call them into River Valley Village, into the trailer park to pick up you think as a 14-year-old, that's a concern for us because we know there's kids in there, your own kids.
Right.
And you're calling in somebody who's looking to have sex with a kid to where kids are.
Right.
You understand where that kind of puts us at a risk for public?
I mean, there's kids everywhere you're at. You can say they go to 7-Eleven, there's kids.
You're 100% correct. 100%
That's not
correct.
what's deterred me, man. That's a comment that I think we do it very safe. We don't chase people if they go over the speed. We don't even chase people no more because what happened to me. Running no more, you know, if they're walking away or whatever. But
Well, maybe on foot, but following in cars, you just did. And
yeah,
so,
but at a slow speed, you know what I mean?
right.
It's just normal. If they
but
start
that's
to
still,
act,
if anyone does anything, they're following, and you don't have a legal authority to follow them.
right?
Okay, so, and that's where, again, we're putting people in danger by this. And so I think I might have a way we can try to fix some of this stuff. I just want to make you guys well aware of why we're at where we're at,
I
okay?
appreciate that.
So we have the risk a lot of times, the public, and we have to be aware of them. If someone jumps in a car and freaks out because you got cameras in their face and drives away, and you jump in a car and chase them, now I know you can't control if they're drinking or high. That's not on you, right? But if they take off and hit somebody, as the one guy you guys aired almost did hit somebody, or if they take the act, someone gets hurt, is caused by, you guys brought them down here, you don't even need to bring them down here. Part of the crime is not to bring them down here. I'll provide that to you here in a second, okay?
Okay.
So that's part of our concern as well.
Okay.
So on that, I will give you here I know you guys already know this, but I'm going to give you guys a statute and in of a child. Okay. As you notice on that, you guys know the phone conversations or the text, however that needs to be,
Right.
with the intent for some sort of sexual act and coming to meet that person in person, right?
Yep.
Problem is, it doesn't say you need to have them here in person to commit that crime.
Correct.
Okay, you don't need it.
Yeah.
For us, statutorily, we don't need that.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah,
we
it
just
actually
need.
even states at the bottom that
Shall
shall
not
not
be
be
a
a defense for them that they did not meet.
Right.
Correct. So we don't need it. Okay.
Right.
So again, when you bring them down here into these public areas, high traffic areas, places where kids are, like you said, a park, 7-Eleven, you're exactly right. That's almost creating a situation. We don't need it to charge it. We don't need it. Okay. And then when you start getting into other issues, and I'm not saying I'm charging you guys with crimes. I'm even trying to, okay?
Right.
I'm letting you guys know that some of the actions you're taking are very, very borderline of being criminal. You don't have legal authority to do so. So to keep you guys from getting yourselves hemmed up, I'll make sure you know of. So something like a false imprisonment.
Yep.
So when you park behind a van in a parking lot and don't let them leave, that fits to false imprisonment because you don't have the legal authority to do so, okay? So when we say that, I know that was your car with the CPP1 plates parked right behind him so he couldn't leave, on the case you didn't report to us, okay? So you understand how this is starting to look.
Yeah.
You don't report to me, but you have crimes being committed, not only one, but two potential crimes. The second crime that becomes an issue is harassment of following somebody in a public place. Okay, and again, I want to make this very clear. I'm not telling you guys I'm charging you right
Yeah, no,
now,
I get it.
okay? I'm just trying to educate you on the issues of what's happening, okay? So when you don't need to bring them down here, as you just said, and you're following them, you're blocking them in, false imprisonment issues, we see we're starting to have some issues here.
Sure.
Okay, so yes, we do have a crime we're going to investigate, but now we have these also potentially being committed. So that puts that investigation in a pretty hard spot.
Right.
Does that kind of make sense?
Yeah.
And another one is a reckless endangerment.
Yeah.
Pretty much speaks for itself. It's 2
Yeah.
sentences. So you guys need to be aware of these issues, okay? Because I don't want to see you guys getting hemmed up on something.
Okay.
Okay, do you guys have any question on that? Do you understand what I'm
I
trying
get
to
it all.
present to you on this?
I get it all. I can fix these. I can't fix this one.
No, which one?
I mean, this CPP revolves. We wouldn't be able to do what we do if we didn't be able to have content. That's not going to change.
Okay.
I 100% want them arrested, but we don't need them. We have no video. We can't keep catching people.
Contact.
Right.
We don't have a full. We were told that it was amazing. I mean, you can call and talk to Broomfield that it was amazing. The what do you call it? The admission they give us, you know. But more so, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, they're a danger anywhere, everywhere they're at. Right? They're coming for that child. When they see us, they know it's not that child. They're never going to want to come back there. You know what I mean? They think it's going to be another sting that we're doing. So I feel that once they come and we meet them, the reason why I bring them here, I live here. You know what I mean? I live, you know, right there. When I was in Broomfield, we brought them to Broomfield. We bring them to where I live because, you know, that's why we do that. But if we didn't meet, there would be nothing. I mean, even if we could, like, you know, if we had arrest and we could just record the arrest, but we can't even get arrested.
For that charge, so we don't need your meat.
I know you don't.
So you're not doing that for an arrest. You're doing it for your channel.
That part, yes, because
that's a problem.
That keeps the channel growing.
So
I don't think that's the only issue.
It's not the only issue,
is because like if you look at if for argument's sake we had 250 of these catches, and maybe, you know, a handful of those have gone through prosecution, and those that have maybe gotten some sort of community service or something. And these are monsters that are affecting kids for 50 years after they do what they do, if they do, right? So
the exposure.
they're predators. They operate in the shadows and the darkness. We have a platform of 150,000 people, and they're seeing what these people are doing. There's a light showing on them. Their family finds out. Their community finds out. Because our perception before coming to this meeting is that, like, we're turning in our stuff and just shit's not getting done. Like, if the law's not going to take care of it, society is going to have to, like, right? I mean,
I feel like
I'm not saying we're going to do anything
but the
ourselves, but I'm
exposure's
saying
huge.
Yeah,
that they need to be exposed as these monsters that are trying to.
well, your guys' exposures are having problems with our cases, and it's also putting
Well, I can
people
fix-
at risk
I can
because
fix
of
all
that
that.
stuff. So
I
that's
can
why
fix
I'm
all that.
sharing that. So one of the things, a way for us to we can handle this without putting the community at risk. Okay, your exposures are going to be a problem, but if you were to come in here with your book, I know we discussed it before. You said this has never worked, but you've never done it with us.
No.
If you come in with a book of a subject, whoever have you, and they're meeting those internet littering statutes, and you hand that book over to us, we will create what's called an AOA report, assist other agency report, if it falls out of Weld County, okay? And there's some deciding factors that will weigh if it's in Weld County or not. We will use law enforcement databases to try to verify who this person is other ways, shape, or form. Doesn't mean we're always going to.
Sure.
No system's perfect, okay? If we can identify and say this person lives in Broomfield, right? And we can verify and we show that this is most likely the right address, then we'll advise Broomfield and send it to them. Here you go. Here's everything that you hand them already. We can send that down to them, make sure they get all of it. Evidence, anything else that you guys have, okay? Phone calls, recordings, whatever have you. We'll send it down to them before a catch, okay? And if it's in unincorporated Will County, or maybe even a city in Will County, depends on the circumstances, we will take it. So then I will investigate that. Now, you will not be allowed to come with us for any sort of arrest. We will not tell you when the arrest is going to happen, but we will tell you when it does happen. And what you guys want to do with chats and things like that, that's up to you. You guys got the platform, that's it. But we have no issue in saying that we were provided this information by CPP, right? Now, again, case-by-case scenario, because that might always change depending on the case. I don't want to make you a flat-out promise, but we can make sure that, you know, we're sharing that love a little bit, but we cannot take you with us or have you there and know when we're doing anything like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if you guys do that, that's how we can forward that on. And if we're not putting anybody at risk, we're not having you guys making any kind of potential crimes.
Yeah.
Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, I've been told all this before, man. But I'm being honest with you. I mean, I don't know if it's something I'll get arrested for, but this is more important than you know, just handing it over to you guys. This
Well, you understand they still get exposure to the community if they get charged because they become sex offenders.
correct, and
There are things that get
150
out there.
people know about it.
And the
When
only
we do
difference
this,
is
a
you're
million people know
not
about
going
it.
to be out there filming it live. That's basically the only difference.
That's what keeps everybody honest. You, me, them, the community.
Okay.
When I go live, I'm being honest with you, man. If you're gonna end up having to arrest me for it, then you will. I mean, it is what it is.
Okay.
I'm not gonna stop the exposures.
Well, before I do this, any questions you guys have on this that I've said so far? Anything you guys wish to add or anything?
No questions. I mean, I just add on top of what they're saying about the exposures. It's just like about, like, for me personally, and I know like what it's about doesn't change like the way that you're gonna have us do stuff, but yes, does it keep the channel going? Yes, and if the channel doesn't go, then can we catch people? Probably not. But on top of that, they, especially like in court, like if we could get those videos to court, how you gonna lie? We got your face, your mouth, your words saying that you came here to do this, and then we turn in the binder or whatever, and we go and put this guy on blast, and they're like, well, prove it. And we're like, well, he got arrested, which, obviously proves the fact that he, committed the crime. But I don't know, I love how you gonna turn back from saying that with your own face, your own mouth? You literally came here to meet. How you gonna be like, oh, well, no, that's not me, I didn't do that? It's like, but you're physically here. But you're physically here.
But we don't need it.
I know.
So
I
again,
know
I'm
the
looking
fact
at
that we don't need it.
It's just talking about for court,
it's just
though.
like what we,
Do you guys have an example of a jury trial or a court where you guys were in the room watching one of your videos get played in front of a jury?
No. You want to know why? We've only had one trial.
Okay.
And we've had 3, but one that's actually going. Normally, they plea bargain. We had a guy that we thought he was a bad guy. Sent all kinds of pictures. Got 5 years of probation. 5 years. Yeah, he's going to be on the registry for 10 years. He lives in a small town. 5 years. Our exposure had family members come out and start talking about it. They reported it to the law enforcement. There's so many more ways. Again, I tell you that it keeps us floating. We none of us make money doing this like a living. Okay, I mean it's not great. But when we started this, nobody got nothing. We did it because we wanted to do it. We weren't even calling the police. We didn't know it was a thing, and then we started calling the police. But that taking the exposures away. I mean, being safe, I get it. Not following them, I get it. Before this conversation, I've already said if they run anymore, I'm fucking tired of chasing. Nothing happens. They don't go to jail anyway. And when we chase them, we just want to talk to you, man. We're gonna call your wife. We're gonna call your wife. We make it very clear that we're not police. If they start high speeding or driving crazy, I'll turn around. But we've already, since then, on our own, we're like, if they leave from now on, it's fuck it. If they start to run, I'm going to start to chase them to see if they'll stop. And then, just let them. So, I mean, I have no problem being safer and learning and doing better. But I get you don't need it. But you may believe in the justice system, but these guys don't get shit. Yes, I want them to go to jail because they're held, onto the registry for 5 years or 10 years. But the exposure is almost as good in a county that doesn't arrest or even a county that arrests and they get, even Broomfield.
Yeah.
2 years probation, And these are bad guys, man.
Well,
I got a kid that's gone through this that's still not okay.
I know. And I can't tell you how the procedure through court's going to be because we're not there yet. So if you were to hand me the binder with all the information ahead of time, I can't tell you how that's going to end up in court because I don't know.
Oh, I know that.
But I do know it takes away the issues that we're talking about. And now it's on us building that investigation based off of the investigative tip, basically. Now it's law enforcement start to finish. Does that make sense? Off of an investigative tip.
So basically, and I'm not being disrespectful, we do all the work and hand it to you guys.
Like I say,
we
can tell you that we can make sure you guys know about it.
I get that.
And that we can even, case by case, again, not going to put exact
still
words
get
out at that we can say CPP, Tommy Fellow, whatever.
I don't even care about
this, but again, that gives you the exposure that you're looking for. And again, I could tell you that I'm sure there's going to be cases where we couldn't say that immediately.
Sure,
right?
no, I get that.
For case sensitivity. So I don't want you to make you think that's a blanket statement. Things can always change. But so there is still routes for that. But once you have those conversations, it's the tip. And again, you care about not letting these guys hurt kids. You care about the arrests. That's the way we can do that.
So you guys want to let them, not you guys, but the system lets them go free for 9 months when I could put them out there right there just like that.
Well, your argument with the system is a very valid argument, but handling it like this is not the appropriate way to go.
I understand. I can get rid of
voting,
this.
legislations, things like that is how that kind of stuff gets handled by people wanting to talk about it. That's quite frankly how laws change all the time.
Right,
Okay.
right.
So is getting that out there, but doing it like this where people are in danger and you're potentially committing crimes the same way is not the right way to do it.
No, I get that. So,
So-
I'll fix those things.
So that's where that has to go there. So, but with the issues that we've discussed, with the cases, the lack of the info, with the potential crimes being committed, and as well as the community at risk, that's a big one for us, right? We do not want to risk people. We will talk to them. We will make sure that they get spoken to by us or another agency forwarding that on, okay? So for the sheriff's office stance on this, the only way we'll accept these cases is by you coming to us beforehand. If you do a catch and exposure, that's on you guys, but we will not be responding,
I'm good.
okay?
I'm gonna get this out to the news and we'll play that game.
Okay.
And you're telling me
fine.
you're not gonna take a crime if I turn a crime in?
If you turn in the right way, we will.
So if I expose them with the camera, you're not gonna take the case?
We are not going to respond on scene.
I'm done.
If
What
you
if we
guys
called
do
in
this
a bank
person,
robbery?
then you guys would go to jail for.
No, I'm
false
saying, what if
reporting.
someone was robbing a bank and we called you and said, there's someone armed and robbing a bank?
Well, that's a
Would you
crime being
respond?
committed at the time. No, let me
This is
make sure I'm clarifying. Are you saying that to make sure that we respond to this?
I'm
Like you're
saying if
falsifying
any
a
one
bank
of us-
robbery, or that you actually
No,
saw
I'm
a
saying,
bank robbery?
what if we saw a bank robbery in progress?
Yes.
We called to report it, would you say, oh, no, you guys are ZPP, we don't respond?
No, we would respond because that is a crime that's happening there. Your crime already committed.
Okay.
Before you guys call them for an exposure, your crime's already been committed. That's where if you report it, we will go forward and we will investigate that.
But you're,
So
but
we're
you're
asking
making
you
it
to do
clear
it
that
the
you will
right
not
way.
take a case if we call you from the scene with the gentleman
Correct.
there. You will not take it.
We are not
We'll
coming.
even show up.
Will you show up?
Yeah, we're not
Well,
going to get
County Sheriff's
officers on
Office
scene
Then I guess
anymore.
we'll just-
is not going to condone
That's what they were saying.
any of
I
these
guess-
acts where it puts the community in any danger when we are giving you the option of how to do it the right way that we will investigate or forward on to those departments where nobody is put in any danger and you're not committing any potential crimes. But if someone does have to show up and a crime has been committed by anybody, if you guys commit any of these crimes, you are subject to being charged with something, okay? Because we still have to investigate the internet luring. An arrest on site will not
I
happen.
understand that.
So don't put your guys in a position where you're committing anything.
I understand
Okay? I
that.
don't want to see you guys get hemmed
We're
up for
obviously
that.
not gonna be able to do catches
So-
in this county for now. I'm gonna report it off to people that I know and we'll see what happens. We had the same problem with Westminster, man, and we went news-wide with it and they arrest on site, just like Broomfield, just like Lakewood, just like Littleton, just like, what was it? Greeley, just like Longmont. I mean, you're the only one that's telling us we can't do this. We've always been told we've been in the gray area. It's gray, but it was an arrestable offense, but it's gray. But if you're saying, hey, don't do it, we won't do it. But the exposure is not optional. It's not.
If you bring us the stuff before the exposure, we will gladly take it
Well,
and investigate
I'll
it and
come in the
inform
day
you when
of and
something
hand you the
happens.
binder and then go meet the guy.
Well, if
Will
you
you
end up
take
doing
the
something
case?
like that, then you could be also impeding an investigation or obstructing. The one way to do it is to provide us with the information. We will conduct a police investigation and we will inform you of when the arrest is made. And you will also
I'm
be able
being
to have
honest with you,
access
man.
to
I respect
everything.
that.
So,
That can't happen. That can't happen.
well, that's the only way we're going to be able to accept those
That's fine.
cases. So we cannot keep risking people's in the community.
We're not risking people in the community. We're taking a risk out of the community. Not only that, couldn't we technically detain them if we wanted to?
Well, you even said yourself you don't do citizens
We do
arrest,
not.
you
We do not, but could we?
So
Could we?
no, because the crime wasn't, as you said before, the crime is not occurring in front of you. The crime
It
is
is.
already committed, and you brought
But
them
it is.
to
It is.
So
They're at the location meeting who they thought it was a
So
child,
no.
right?
No.
How come all the
You
other
may not be
places say yes,
arrested.
I could do that?
I've never heard another agent say that. But if you would like to provide me with who it is that says that,
Oh,
I'd be
Broomfield
more than
and
happy
them,
to
but
talk to
they told us several times, you can call and ask them.
Okay.
They said as long as they're committing a felony in your presence, which they are, they're meeting the child that they thought was a
I'll tell
child,
you
right?
what, the officers or detectives or supervisors that you've talked to at Broomfield, if you'd like to have them call me and relay to me something I don't know on them, I'm more than happy to listen.
Isn't
to
that the law, though?
So, no, because again, the crime already occurred. You brought them to you. Again, guys, you have a noble cause. No one's arguing that, okay? I'm not arguing that. No one is.
I'm
But
just
the
telling
problem
you,
is the
we're
way
not
you're
gonna
doing
stop.
it is commuting a whole bunch of
So
issues
let's
when you
fix
can avoid
that.
all that.
Let's fix that. But we can't. Would you do this if you couldn't afford it? Would you come into work and do your job?
That excuse doesn't work on this because
It
you're still
absolutely
going to
does.
get your
Continue.
exposures.
We can't continue. No, we can't. We can't
If
continue
your
without
stuff
it.
continues and crimes get
I
committed by
understand
you
that.
guys,
That's why
you're going to
you
have
say not
issues.
to do it. We won't do it. But it is not against the law for us to catch people and expose them. That's not against the law. It's
Correct.
done all over the United States.
Correct. But we're also not going to, now that you know we're not responding,
Okay.
we're not going to put people at risk of coming into our community.
That's fine.
You provide it to us ahead of time. We will investigate. We will get that out.
Well, we'll build up a
And
bunch
we
of
will
cases, and
inform
then
you.
you're going to be in a lot of shit when we have 10 cases that you guys won't investigate.
Okay. Well, I
Don't
guess
you think?
we'll deal with it when that comes
Okay,
in.
that's fair enough. Fair enough. I'm
Okay.
good.
So you don't want to come in and turn that stuff in ahead of time? You don't want to take that?
No, because you're going to arrest me for impeding an investigation. So I'm not
Only
going
if you go and talk to him.
I'm
We're trying
going
to
to
conduct an
talk to him. I'm
investigation.
telling you, that is not.
And I'm not saying
Even
I'm
if
going
these
to
guys-
arrest you. I'm saying it could be.
Even
So,
if these
make
guys
that
said,
clear.
"Hey, Tommy, I'm out," I'm not stopping.
Okay, if your actions hinder an investigation,
I understand that.
there's a potential
That's why I'm not going
crime,
to
so
turn it
that's
in
what I'm
first.
saying.
That's
So,
why I'm not going to turn it in first.
well, that's going to be on you because we
Right.
will conduct our investigation if you turn it in first.
I'm
So we'll
going
make
to
sure
still
gets
turn
out,
it in. So when you guys don't show up, I'm going to come over and drop the binder at the front, take another copy of that binder, send it over to Fox 31, and
Okay.
let's go from there.
Fair
I mean,
enough.
if that's how you're going to play it, man,
Fair enough.
I'll follow everything you say, but you can't stop our main driving force of exposing these guys.
So if you guys would you like to write down a new case number? I have a new case number that I pulled on this conversation and basically everything we've discussed, okay? So be aware that this case number documents everything that we discussed here today and will, okay? So also to make you aware, just so you guys know too, that when it comes to public records, anybody can access public
I
records.
know, that's going to be a bitch.
So this case number will be also linked to all three of you, okay? So if people request anything, news channels, whatever have you, everything we've talked about is all compiled. Would you like me to write down here for you what the case number is? And you can actually get a copy of this.
Now get his real address.
Right.
I'll tell you what, I will put since you have a concern with your address, I will put that in a do not release status or find a way with my records to make sure that doesn't get out there. Does that work for you?
That's fair.
Is that fair enough? So it'll be linked for law enforcement purposes, but we can make sure that doesn't get.
But these assholes is what
So
they're doing.
is that okay with you?
Yeah.
You okay with that? Okay. So I will make sure and document that. So the last thing I want to do is get you docked or something like that.
I have a 4-year-old.
So nope, understandable. And that's also something that we can look at too, that if you come in with these cases and provide that, and, and you are giving us, sorry, make sure my notes, yep, there you go, 3. And that you're providing information in that, and we're worried about your stuff getting out there, I can also make that a status of do not release for, not just the report, but your guys' information as well. So I understand how that could be a concern.
So we
I
can
have no
still
issue
call
with
these
that.
in, right? When we're doing our case, we can still call. You're just not going to come out because I want to document
Sure.
a phone call was made.
Sure.
You're just
But
not going to show.
everyone's going to know why we're not showing.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I completely
Okay.
understand that part.
That makes sense. So like I said, guys, I'm willing to work up to a certain level here, but we're having these issues that we can't ignore anymore. And so we do it the right way. Again, if you have a concern with your guys' stuff, let me know, or let whoever know you turn the book into, and we'll make sure that doesn't get just released out without.
These
just
assholes
that
have
makes
got
sense.
every single case we've done in the last.
Well, the case is everything's that's all
I
public
know,
information.
I know.
Body cams, all that stuff's public information.
Yeah.
Just like getting anything off of YouTube is all public information. What I'm talking about, like your personal information, the name, screens, things like that, I can control that. So if you guys do that, let me make sure you say that.
Was there a case number on the last meeting we had?
That was
Case
whatever that case number was. Yeah.
okay.
Actually, I do have it. You
I
want
don't.
that?
I don't need it. I was just wondering. I was
Yeah.
just wondering why there was a case number today.
Yeah. So it's a separate, basically adding in everything we're discussing.
It just gives
So that
people the
just puts
opportunity to see
everything
what
in
we
there.
talked about or whatever.
Well,
When you
for
create
all
a
us
case
to
number.
know, for us to have the reference, law enforcement.
Gotcha.
Yeah, anytime we have kind of a, I don't want to necessarily call it a concern, but to make sure we're on the same page of something, we're going to document why. This would be any kind of medium. I mean, we have to make it because of legislations.
No, it makes sense.
Sorts of things,
I was just wondering.
but it just documents that what was being said and what our conversation was for. So.
Do you know of any, and I mean anywhere in the country, because we'd probably, be receptive and to do something like this, but resources for people that are not law enforcement to, either gather evidence or this type of thing that might help with what you're saying?
I don't, but that doesn't mean I can't check. I could say that with your guys' pass for stuff, shoot, I strongly encourage you to join law enforcement. I mean, everywhere's hiring. Everywhere's hiring. You're not gonna have a hard time finding an application somewhere. But I mean, I don't know of any because there has to be using that law enforcement background. So, because like you see for false imprisonment, for instance, for stopping someone from leaving, if a police officer believes or law enforcement sworn officer believes something is happening, right, then they can do that. Literally exception in that statute, they can do that, but not for an average citizen. So, and a lot of statutes are worded that way. So that's why, I mean, there's also a lot more stricter rules, like entrapment, right? We can't do entrapment.
Right.
So, but yeah, I'll definitely check for you. I'll get back to you. I'll do some checking around. Just because I haven't heard of it doesn't mean it's not there. And ask and see. A lot of places have reserve programs, but most of the time you have to be law enforcement certified. But I would strongly encourage you. You guys have a passion for that kind of stuff. I mean, shoot, apply. I'm sure Thornton, all those agencies down there hiring. We're always hiring. Everywhere's always hiring. So,
I'll tell you, man, this is my passion right here. This is my passion. I want to do this. I want to attack it at a level. I mean, we've got 250 people, and
I get
we're
it.
not going to stop. If we stop catching here, I mean, I'm not going to stop sending them here, but obviously we're going to stop getting support from you. But I'm just going to. I mean, dude, that's the saddest thing I've ever heard. But I get it.
That I completely get what your passion.
I could work on all this, the doxing and all that. I could figure out a lot of that shit. I can't stop the exposing
and that's
him.
the problem is that we can appreciate what you're doing, the way it will
change.
Wanting to do it is good.
It will change.
But the problem is we have to do it legally, and the cases where they're at are not acceptable. Okay, and so we can come, if you do it that way and try it out, let's try it out and see. It's never been done that way. You said it. We will be the first one to try it with you and see where they are. But
even then, it's not going to put the exposure out there. You guys arrest these guys. They go on a list. People that want to look them up will find them.
Well, what's on the list you can still put out there. That's all public information.
Yeah, no, I get that.
The only exposure you're changing.
That person goes to court and everybody's like, oh, it was bullshit, blah, blah, blah. We got that person saying, what were you doing here today? Whatever, with this child, you know? We got their mouth. We got them saying it. We exposed the truth of who they are. They're going to come in and they're going to do a plea bargain and then all this shit, and they're not going to be truly exposed. Yes, we want them arrested, yes, but the exposure has become so much greater than the actual crime itself because, not you, because of the system's fucked.
And you're still able to expose a lot of those chats. You're still able to expose that he was arrested. You're able to expose the law enforcement reports.
Yeah, 9
you're
months
still
later.
able to do all that.
9 months later,
well,
this guy's been...
I can't tell you a time frame because I don't know because we haven't done it. But that's something we can look at. But that's because they're always open investigations.
I'm just telling you, you're going to have to work with that last one.
I need you to hear me out here. When an arrest happens, that's public information. You guys know that because it's out there, on there. Okay? So, as for how long it would take, the reports usually, unless they're sealed for some reason, are put out there very quickly. No reports you guys have sent us have been sealed. So that's all public information, okay? So all that stuff can get out, however that needs to go about. Now, that's something we will have to check the legality of, because I don't want to put you guys in a bad position.
Right, I appreciate
but we also don't want to ruin a case, okay? But it's a step that's never been taken, and we are willing to take that step to try and see how that works, okay? Because the other issues we have are a problem. And the first time somebody gets hurt, if they drive away from you guys and someone gets hurt or you chase after somebody, that's going to be an even bigger problem.
That's
when
why
we're flat telling you, we cannot.
Understand
but even if you walk up to someone's door and they freak out and back away really quickly and hit somebody and you guys didn't do anything but knock on their window, we're going to have a problem. You understand that? You can't control what they do. I get that. But I'm telling you, the way you guys are doing it are causing personal responses from people. Okay. Flight or fight factor, right?
Yeah.
You've seen those Halloween videos all the time. When someone spooks you, what's their reaction? They curl up or they fight.
Yeah.
Or they take off, right?
Right.
As part of your flight problem. So that's human nature. And when you're in this environment and you're putting in that human nature, one of those two responses is going to happen, and you've seen them all. But if that flight happens and someone gets hurt, that's what our concern is, because we don't need it statutorily.
So what if we did this? What if we turned it into you? The whole case. And if you guys accept to take it, let us do the interview. Just go arrest them.
You can't do an interview definitely not pre. I don't know about after law enforcement. I doubt they'd open the door for you, but that would completely hinder our investigation. I have yet to ever seen a time where I can use a good interview off of somebody in a case where someone else, a civilian, has done one.
So how'd Chris Hansen do it? You know, I'm just, how did they do
That's
it?
behind the
sheriffs and
scenes
stuff.
with commercials and a whole lot of different stuff. So I have no idea where those cases ever ended even.
Yeah,
I have
think a lot
no
of them are
clue.
good.
So
Shit happened, yeah.
you take it for a grain of salt, the TV show.
Sure.
I mean,
Sure.
it's going to be hard to go. I'm sure there's a lot more. It's like cops. Don't believe everything you see on
Yeah,
cops.
I know, I get that.
So I don't have really an answer for you.
Okay.
But like I said, we can still proceed and fill in. We don't know how it's all going to piece together because it's never been done.
Right.
So, but I can tell you, we cannot risk the safety of people that you guys are bringing them in here. If it's someone at their house, tell us, get it to us so we can go and talk to them and go from there. But if you guys go up there, there's a whole lot of issues that could completely ruin that investigation, as well as be issues for you guys. And I don't want to see you guys have issues. So
I appreciate that.
you can be as upset as you want to be on this. I get it. I get where it's at. But you need to understand that we have to be able to make sure the public is safe and the investigations are done properly and legally.
This is the third time
And
I've
that's
had
where
this
we're at.
exact meeting.
So,
Arvada, Westminster, and now this one, where they basically, Arvada and Westminster came with detectives. I said, am I going to be arrested if I continue? They said, pretty good chance. And both of them arrested now.
I think you're missing the point of this one.
I get it. I'm willing
The
to
point
work
is not
on all
to
this.
threaten you with arrest.
No, I know,
The point
but they
is
did, is
telling
what
you
I'm
what
telling
those stemming to make bad investigations for us. And if you commit crimes while investigating a
Right.
crime, that's a problem.
I understand
Okay?
that.
That's the whole point of it, is not to threaten you. I'm just making sure you guys
But this is
understand
committing crime.
what could happen.
This
So,
is not, meeting the guy is not committing a crime.
right,
you
but it's
know?
not needed.
It's not needed.
And we
but
don't want to
it's
have
needed for
something
us.
happen.
No, I get that. I get
So-
that. And the chasing, it's going to stop. The following them, it's going to stop. If that's a problem, we already talked about it. I wasn't going to chase them anymore because of the knife incident. It was scared the fuck out of me, you know? But the following them, it's like, it's not even worth it. You know, it goes to another county, becomes a jurisdiction issue and all that. And so we already talked about changing that. Just let them go, you know? Let them go.
Well, I get why you're upset on the way this is going to be. But I really, really hope you guys take it in consideration for it. I really do.
It's not an
Because,
option. I wish I could.
well,
It's not an option.
it's your personal option.
I mean, maybe we just, I don't know, maybe we just let Weld County, you know, this little part of Weld County, because Longmont's good, and so is Greeley, just let them, you know, prey on their kids.
Well, you're missing a lot of points on this.
I'm
And
missing a lot of points,
I
but
get
the bottom line is
get
we're
the
catching 6
frustration,
fucking guys.
and we still can, but there's a right way to do it, and the only way that we're going to do it. And again, we're going to learn by it. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect the very first time. It's a learning curve.
Well, you're
you
gonna
guys
learn-
know that
you're
the
gonna
very
learn
first time you
eventually
did
that this
something,
does work.
you're going to have issues. So, just like you guys had. So when we do it that way, we're going to work through a couple kinks, I'm sure. Okay? Just like anything. Can't promise you it's going to be perfect all said and done, but we put a lot of thought into how we could do this, and it's a matter of we just have to actually do it. And that part's on you guys on that. So,
To be honest with you, I won't lie to you, it can't happen. They got to be exposed. We wouldn't even be able to do this without that. We wouldn't. It's impossible. There's nothing. YouTube is the driving force. These guys need to be exposed. They need to be arrested. It can all be done. It can all be done. Every bit of that can be done. If you guys wanted me to turn it in early and then go meet them, you say you can't do that. Okay, we turn it in, and then the day you're going to go arrest them, just let us knock on the door and do an interview, and then you arrest them. Can't do that. I mean, you're giving us an option of turn it in, lose YouTube, the driving force, and we'll take care of it for you. Otherwise, we're not going to accept your cases.
I don't know how YouTube does with their exposures after the fact of putting their stuff. I have no idea how that works. But again, all that's public information.
Right.
And so unless that case is fully being investigated by both me and Larimer County. Hence why I said, please do not talk to him.
Yeah, I just stopped.
And if he sends something, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, that is a great example of what I'm saying because of our investigation to stop.
If you ever
And
tell us
that
to
would
stop,
be,
we'll
and that
stop.
would be the exact same thing of if I say, listen, hold off on doing chats, hold off on sending out reports, hold off on that, please, is because we're in that investigation. I can seal all that stuff if I have to.
Okay.
But that's a great example of the one time I've said that. If that was the case, I'd tell you. But again, you're giving us the information. We appreciate it because we don't want to let people go for this either.
Yeah, no, I know.
But right now, where we're at, because of how these are conducted, we haven't been able to even file a case, except for those few. And like I said, that was in the very beginning, before we started working all these cases.
Now, ultimately, it shouldn't come down to it, but I think really it's like, you know, when we're talking YouTube and it fading, like, yeah, we could put up chat logs and we could put up a little picture of that dude got arrested. Ain't nobody gonna watch that.
No.
Nobody want, people want to, and I know really shouldn't be about like what do people want to see. It's not necessarily just about what you want to see. It's also about being like, this guy, this space, his words. People like they love that, they relish on that, and that's where it's like, we start taking that away, and that's where the money that keeps this going will then fade. We could put those videos up all day, and they're not going to get what...
It costs which is nothing. $150 to do a catch. $150 to do a catch, because decoys and everything.
It sucks that it has to come down to
it would have to go away
like that.
But that's charge the force. You wouldn't do your job if you didn't
Well,
get paid. You wouldn't be able to.
This isn't effective me saying that just do it for free, okay? That's stupid. I'm not asking you guys that, okay? I get that.
But that's what it would be
But
doing.
you have to understand that what you guys are choosing to do and what you've chosen to do is not working for us, okay, for these cases, and it's having the issues we consistently talked about.
But if
now,
we got rid of all that, man.
it's not going to, you still have the whole bunch of that issues, though. If someone is to drive off or anything happens,
We don't chase them no more.
it doesn't matter if you, like I said, the fight and flight thing, okay? There's too many issues that have happened all over the place that we keep seeing in continuous pattern.
Have you ever seen an issue over 250 cases that had anybody get hurt?
Well, no,
Only
but
me.
I haven't read all your
Only
250
me.
cases.
Well, they're all up there, every single one of them.
But there's a whole other picture of law enforcement we have to look at that we cannot and we will not be able to give you investigative tips because you're not law enforcement.
No, I understand that.
So
I
there's
get that.
certain things that, we could maybe, like if it was the way law enforcement's always been a part of these, it's different, okay, because it's law enforcement. And so we can't give you that, like right, wrong, or indifferent. I just
Right.
can't, okay, because that even ruins the case even
I
further.
understand that.
Okay, so again, what you guys are trying to do is, very admirable, but there's only certain ways we can do this stuff. I will definitely check out about the, like civilians getting involved and stuff like that, evidentiary stuff. I'll definitely do some calling around and see what I can find out. Like I said, just because it's not there, I'll definitely do that and let you know. I'll give you a call and let you know when I find out. It might take a couple days, but I'll make some phone calls and see. But, work-wise, you kind of laugh, but you guys like doing this stuff, man. A career in law enforcement will get you right there. So,
I feel like we'd be writing tickets.
well, to start, but...
I'm also 41 years old, man. This is like,
That's okay. There's no age issue. We have people starting in their 40s
Really?
right now. Oh, yeah, all the time. Jail, patrol, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's no... I guess if you're in a walker, it might be a problem. But, yeah, there's no age issues. So that's, again, that way,
too bad, man.
that's the way to do stuff without, having those aspects.
It's not gonna stop. I've spent 2 years, the whole group, to build this, and obviously that is 100% the means of the driving force. It's that simple. It's without that, we have channels within channels, that gives updates and gives chat logs. 15 people watch. 15. Live. 15.
Definitely be a redoing of stuff, I'm sure. But
Oh, yeah.
with that, like I said, if you have questions or want to think of some ways for painting us ahead of time, what you could put out there, how you proceed with that, I'm open to conversations. On that aspect of it, we are definitely open to conversations of how can that still benefit you guys to helping the arrest happen and not tainting an investigation or ruining a case.
We don't want to ruin cases.
So we can definitely have that conversation if that's right, Chad. Sounds like that's not what you want to do.
It's not.
But if that changes, let me know, and we can definitely sit down and have a conversation about it. There's certain things we can't, but hey, it's new for all of us, so let's try it out.
CPP is Tommy. CPP runs CPP, and no matter what me and Shay wind up doing, like I do want to let you know that I think everyone can agree on something, like community safety. These issues that you brought up, we're very interested in addressing, no matter what happens, if we're turning the cases or if Tommy decides to continue on like this, but that'll definitely be a focus for us.
Yeah, absolutely. No matter what, even other places, because we're not law enforcement. We jumped into this fucking head first, not knowing what we were doing. It was just because we wanted to help. And we learned on the way. And there's a lot of things probably when I first started doing this that it shouldn't have been done. And we switched it. But these are things I can address. I could even address, bringing these guys to certain places, better places. Places where there are no people, whatever. But it's. Bottom line is we put our decoys in this area. The people that are reaching out to us are reaching out to the decoy in this area. It's not like we're cherry picking you guys. Trust me, you'd be the last department I would want to do it to.
Well, you've had one from Firestone, 2 from Greville. That's
But what I'm
in
saying
Weld
is
County.
they're reaching out to the 13-year-old that lives at my address.
Right,
You see what I'm saying?
yes, but again, the people that you guys are calling Thornton, Castle Rock, Douglas County,
That's
hour
where
and a half
where they
drives
live,
coming
yeah.
up here, so.
But then we come up here for a 13-year-old
And
girl,
I
you know
get
what I
that,
mean?
but again, it's still bringing a dangerous incident outcome potentially into our community. And that's where we're having that, we can avoid that, and we can.
So they miss us, but they catch the real 13-year-old.
Well, hopefully if you turn it in, we get them before they.
Well, no, we stopped
have
doing it
so-
at all, and so now they catch the real 13 and 14-year-old.
Well, no, but also bringing them in, like say Gregory, like I said, we can go through things all day
We're not
long.
getting anywhere.
But
maybe.
again, the
I can't
problem
stop that.
is like I said, like you have a guy coming into a trailer park, it could have been any kid that potentially could get grabbed if he shows up earlier or later than when you're outside there. Those are legitimate concerns we have to be worried about.
If they were legitimate
So-
concerns, then why would you let them walk away?
Well, one, he was arrested for the DUI, but two,
Well, any
because
guy,
we
yeah.
still have to investigate. We are still gonna do that investigation. He is gonna leave. We know who he is. We have other
Doesn't
law
change the fact that
enforcement, we
he's
have
still a
other
dangerous man.
law enforcement techniques to make sure that that person, I shouldn't say make sure, but we're able to,
Keep an eye on it or something.
something to that effect,
Yeah.
right? Be able to, at least they're on the radar. So just because they should doesn't mean they just walk away and we say, nope, we're done, okay? There's been circumstances where people said they had kids, that even if we haven't worked with the case, I can forward to social service, say, hey, just so you know, this happened, this case has been closed, however, there's kids. Okay, so not everything, that's some of the stuff you don't know about, that we still take that initiative to pass that on, and that won't stop. You hand me something with a kid somewhere, and let's just use, say, Thornton, for instance, I can imagine this happening, but let's say they don't want to have anything to do with it, right? We can still reach out to social services, say, hey, just a heads up, and we can let Thornton know that. We just gave them the social services heads up, so at least there's that aspect as well.
Well,
Okay,
so maybe
there's
not
still
completely
things, so-
cutting you all the way out. If somebody comes from Thornton to meet this child, should we have already been turning that into Thornton anyway?
And you can, it just depends. I
I mean-
mean, so a lot of times it depends on, there's so much that goes into it, and they may tell you to come to us, they may tell you to go elsewhere, and a lot of times it gets concluded. So, but either way, like I said, you bring it to us, you bring it to me ahead of time, I will ship it off, or any detective will ship off to
Well, I was
the
trying to-
appropriate agency.
I was trying to solve
So
the
if
problem,
we
not
believe-
turning it into you at all if they don't live here, because we know if we turn it into you, it's not gonna be investigated.
Well, you will if it's before the
No,
catch.
if I do it afterwards, I'm saying that's not gonna happen. So if they're in Thornton, we call the police, report it to you, you're not gonna show up, we probably should turn it into Thornton, because he lives there?
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
probably.
Okay.
Probably. And
That'll probably help a lot.
if you have a question on something, call us. But I'm just making it clear that how our response is going to be.
Yeah, that's
But after the fact, if you have a question and you're curious about it, just call. Send me a quick email. I'll get back to you. We'll figure it from there. But
We'll call
again,
and
we
just
have
bring
to-
the binder, drop it off, and maybe just bring a list, or a couple copies of the SIM card. You're not gonna investigate it anyway, so maybe we should just bring one SIM card, right? Like,
we can talk about where and what.
okay.
Call
Because
ahead
I'm
of time.
telling
But
you,
again,
man, I'm just being honest with
this
you, I
has to be
appreciate
before
you.
the exposure.
It's not gonna happen.
Okay.
So I'm saying afterwards, I'm just gonna, I guess, we'll call the police, we'll drop off the binder. We're definitely not gonna stop. Typically what we do is when, departments do this, we just continue on as normal. I mean, because eventually the community's not gonna like this. And that's when you guys get pressure. I'm telling you, it's not gonna be, and I'm not threatening you, I'm saying it's what it is, man. This is what our channel is. I go live every day, and if a county's saying if we do an exposure, they're not gonna take felonies, ooh.
Well, also understand that when people call in complaints on cases, we provide case numbers. Okay?
No,
So
that's
also
fine.
understand that everything we discuss, every case, if they want it, they get it. So if there's an issue with a case and a case number's been pulled,
Well, there's not gonna be a case number.
they need to be allowed to have it.
You didn't come
So,
out.
right, but this case number is why we're handling things the way
Right,
we
right,
are.
right.
So
Oh,
they
he's
will
saying
be
he's gonna
provided a
give this
case number.
to all the
It
callers.
can be
Oh, yeah, that's
provided
fine.
to as to the history as to why. So again, just being
Yeah.
upfront with you guys
Yeah.
that, okay, so.
But
again,
Colorado Springs, same thing, came out and said it was a big, what do you call it, community threat. I get that, but we do it pretty damn safe, and then they make arrests too. I mean, it's, bottom line is, people don't like people touching kids. And when somebody's saying, yeah, they're just not investigating it right because they show up and expose these monsters, that's what people want to see.
And we understand, and we don't like them either.
I know
But
you
we
don't.
will investigate it. If it's done correctly, we'll take it and investigate it. We will investigate it, and
We
so I
are
hope you
just
guys-
citizens
I
turning in
hope-
crimes, and if you don't investigate a crime that's been turned in by a citizen, I mean, that's gonna be.
Hopefully you guys do it the right way
That
and the
can't happen.
legal way.
If you can
So-
figure out a way where you can take these cases and we follow rules, that's fine. I'm open for that.
Yeah, No, we just did.
Yeah.
I just told you how.
Yeah. Well, you
told you how,
can't
so-
do it, so.
It's very simple, so.
Can't do it.
And we'll work through it when it happens. We'll work through those with you guys, since you guys are the ones reporting it to us. We'll
Well, it's
figure it
gonna
out.
be reported,
so.
because we have to report it, because then later down the road, you'll be like, wait, you didn't call us on that one. We didn't show up, because we didn't get a call, so we'll just call and be like, hey, I know you're not coming, but you got a guy here trying to meet a 14, blah, 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 whatever. So, cool, man, I don't think we're gonna get anywhere. I do appreciate all this, because we definitely don't wanna make your guys' life
Well,
miserable.
we don't want to see you guys get arrested either for
And I
no cause,
appreciate
and
that.
doing it the
Yeah.
right way won't
Yeah.
get you guys arrested. So don't put yourselves in positions,
Yeah.
and that goes for anywhere you do this stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we learn from, if you tell us something, we've got a little bit of information from every place we talk to, kind of put it in, and that's how we learn and grow.
so you guys have a very noble cause, and we can appreciate that. We just got to do it the right way, so we can prosecute these cases and not put people in danger. It's straight and simple, okay? So,
These monsters are, there's danger, whether they're here or there, you know what I mean?
you're 100% correct.
So,
No argument there.
I get it.
You're exactly right. Couldn't say it any better myself. So, any other questions, guys?
I don't know, so.
Appreciate you guys coming down here. Hopefully this room's a little more comfortable than the last one we were in.
Yeah.
Especially since you've actually been here for over an
Wasn't
hour.
bad last time
So,
either.
yeah. All right. If you guys have questions, reach out.